chair, not somebody pushed me, not because it's lifestyle choices. Sometimes things happen, there's no choice about what happens in your life. But sometimes you have the choice to make the difference. You have to make the right choices. Diabetes is becoming more common in the United States. From 1980 to 2003, the number of Americans with diabetes more than doubled, 5.8 to 13.8 million. You know, diabetics didn't even exist in the early 1900s. They were very, very rare. Cancer, if you look back in our ancestors, was like minute. There was hardly any. When they go back in the mummies and they go back and they do research, cancer was unheard of. These are all environmental problems and dietary causes that we're doing it to ourselves. 1/3 of all cancer deaths are related to diet and activity factors. Well, again, we talked about the sugar. I'm going to go back to the sugar and then back to the burger again. Is it really safe to be eating a burger that lasts for 14 years? What can I say? The sugar. You've seen when in that bowl how much sugar you can accumulate in the course of your life without even trying. Sugar is an inflammatory agent. If you cause an inflammation to occur in your body, it's going to cause chronic disease. It's degenerative in nature. All disease, heart disease, diabetes, cancers, they're degenerative in nature. Something broke down. So it's really important. Osteoporosis, we talked about this. The condition is serious enough that the U.S. Surgeon General's office issued a major report on osteoporosis in 2004, noting that many people are unaware that their bone health is in jeopardy. Many people are walking around with osteoporosis, have no clue. That's true. They get their DEXA scans and all of a sudden they're shocked. Again, a lot has to do with our diet. Everybody thinks, well, I have my milk. To me, milk's a great food if you're a baby calf. Try broccoli. Broccoli is actually a better source of calcium. Most people, for instance, have enough calcium in their blood, which is why we have so much arteriosclerosis today. That was some inflammation, scarring of the arteries. It's very easy to bind. Our arteries clog. Most people don't have the D3. They don't have the magnesium, the boron, the other micronutrients that it takes to get the calcium out of the blood and into the bone. Toxins. How does your body deal with these chemicals and byproducts of cellular metabolism? That little organ over there, that liver, it's a really handy organ. Your liver has the ability to manufacture various substances in your body, right? New proteins for your body's needs, clotting factors to stop the bleeding, bile to help digest your food. Without a liver, you wouldn't grow properly, you would bleed to death, and you would waste away to nothing. Really important fact that liver has the ability to help you burn fat. So when you have a toxic fatty liver, you may have a very hard time metabolizing your fat and a very hard time burning fat. So a lot of times people are overweight and they do all the right things. They try to exercise, they try to get their metabolism up, but at the same time, they're still not losing weight. A lot of times you get toxins in those fat cells and the liver just can't deal with it. So the first thing to do to lose weight often is to get the toxins out of the cell. What are you feeding me? The liver needs food in order to perform optimally. Our choices are catching up to us. In 2004, the Department of Health and Services determined that 64% of adults were overweight. I bet you in 2010 it's probably up to 75%. I mean, I have a house in Ocean City. I walk in the boardwalk, and me and my wife often will take a walk and try to find people that aren't heavy. It's something you can do. This is a pastime. It's funny. It's amazing. Being overweight is just not about the weight. You get hypertension, cancer, gallbladder disease, sleep apnea, varicose veins, all these things, non-insulin dependent diabetes. I mean, they're all factors that go with the weight, but the weight often is just another symptom of a bigger problem. It's not because you're totally eating wrong, or not totally eating right, of course, but it's not just the weight that's here. It's a symptom of the way that you're eating and the way your environment is treating you and the way you're reacting with it. Decisions. What are you putting in your body? Jewels versus garbage. Fruits and vegetables. We should be eating, as a rule, 4 times more vegetables than fruit. How many people in here can say they do that? It's really important, right? Vegetables, 4 times more than fruit. The reason that is because we looked at that sugar and we say, well, fruit's good food. Fruit is good food. It's got antioxidants or anything else, but it's still loaded with sugar. So if, for instance, we want to have an orange, right? We need to eat that many vegetables to take care of that orange. So I challenge you to overeat your fruit. or any other food when you start doing that. If you keep that as a rule in your life, you'll really do very well for yourself. That's a good way to start. Why are so many people overweight? They eat too much of the wrong things, not enough exercise, not enough sleep. Sleep's important. Everybody needs that hypnosis. Sleep is very important for weight control. I mean, because if you stress your body, it isn't going to function right. Poor liver function, which goes back again. You start those toxins in the fat cells, you're just not going to lose the weight. Carbohydrates, we got glucose and insulin equals energy, right? Blood sugar, that's good. If you get too much glucose, we store it, make fat and cholesterol, can be bad. It's that situation I was telling you about. You know, every time you start driving up that insulin level, you release that insulin, you store fat. It's a fat storage hormone. It's a problem. So, the pasta, when you eat carbohydrates, sugar, your body produces insulin. You know, for years, unfortunately, they told us how good pasta was. Most of us today know white flour is trash. I mean, I don't have to spend a lot of time telling anybody, all right? We all know, unless we're in the dark ages someplace, we know to really limit these foods. It's a problem. But again, how many people are taking the time to eat whole foods? This is where the problem comes in. You know, if you're eating right 90% of the time, you're really doing something. But how many people are doing it today? It just doesn't happen. How many people are doing those vegetables to fruit ratio? Vegetables at all. I got patients coming to my office. I mentioned vegetables. It's like I may have said I was like the Antichrist coming to go see him or something. It's scary. And if you're going to control your insulin levels, you have to start there. Weight loss and insulin, the connection. Difficult to lose weight with high insulin levels. One way to regulate insulin levels effectively is through foods that you eat. Must have a healthy liver in order to lose weight. And these are all facts. It's really, really, you know, it regulates everything right there, your insulin. Again, you can't go and have starchy carbohydrates. You know, people with the diet sodas, they're as bad as the regular soda. Get over it. There's appetite stimulants. There's problems with them. Your body sees sometimes that sweetness is a spike the same way. It handles it like sugar. It doesn't know what to do with it. Just totally confuse it. And the problem is if you buy a regular soda, it's got high fructose corn syrup, then you're really messed up. High fructose corn syrup, and not to keep on going on that horn, but it gives the highest insulin response that you can get is with high fructose corn syrup. So a little bit is going to be super sweet. It's cheap for the food industry to use. They love to use it. It's very inexpensive for them. It's going to spike up your insulin level. It's going to make you store fat and make you eat more food. I mean, it's perfect. And also, high fructose corn syrup, there's been studies show that it's kind of plays with the satiety levels in your brain at the same time. So if you have a meal and you have a soda with that meal, often you'll keep on eating more food than you would have because you had the high fructose corn syrup. It is the perfect food for the Food and Drug Administration. I'll say, you know what, I'll tell you again, the food industry wants you to be on that side. They want to, you know, they want you unhealthy, they want you overeating, and they want you to eat their crap. They really do. The drug and the FDA, you know what, look at all the money. If you're a diabetic, where are they going? Right? If you're healthy, what's happening? Nothing good, right? So the biggest thing we have to do is to be healthy with our life. It really is, to be proactive. Keep on telling you. The liver is a chief fat-burning organ. The majority of the fat goes to the liver before your body can use it as fuel. Make that liver happy. Got to make sure you have enough omega-3s. Again, the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. It's all about it. If you're eating the right way, that balance is going to occur naturally. You don't even have to go crazy about it. You know, you should be taking some good, clean fish oil, making sure you're eating some nuts. You want a nice, balanced meal of healthy fats. People that often, one of the biggest mistakes they make on dieting is not eating fat, healthy fat. Because for so long it's been ingrained that fat's bad. But you can't burn fat without fat. Matter of fact, on this purification diet, this 21-day, I tell people, you've got to have some fat. I tell them, eat a little butter. It's important. Coconut oil. I'll tell you about coconut oil right away. When I talk about coconut oil, a lot of times people go, oh, no, the government says that's no good for me. Well, it's interesting. In World War II, we stopped using coconut oil because of their situation, and you know. So after that, they got found it was saturated fat, and margarine was the good food, and coconut oil was junk. Okay. So what happens is years go by, they get all this coconut oil after the war, and farmers say, well, we'll give it to our cows. We're going to fatten them up. Something amazing happened when they gave it to the cows. They got active and they lost weight. right? It sped up their metabolism. It's a short chain, short the fat chain, fatty acid. It does not harm your cholesterol. It has lauric acid in it. It's very good for infection. It's really good for your metabolism. But don't question the FDA on it. They'll probably still tell you to use the margarine. Have the trans fats, it's better. The power of fruits and vegetables. Our bodies are very complex, and so should our food. Activity, you know, it's, again, especially during the purification diet, which I'll tell you, you need to be active every day. Food, when and how much? The stress. Do we eat when we're stressed? Age and health status. All these things. You got to really take an answer and say, what are you doing with your life? Again, you got to be proactive with your health. Your BMI is one of the primary risk factors for disease and death. As a person, BMI increases, the risk for many diseases increase. This is almost true for almost everybody except for athletes. I'll put that clause in there because I should have put a little note in there that really, if you're in really good shape and you have a lot of muscle mass, your weight's going to be driven up, and it's not a really good indicator of your BMI. At that point, you want body fat percentages. But for the average Joe, it's a great way to know.